from the Radio What Studios, and this is my podcast, What Makes You Smarter. It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do you go? DJLittleRock.com. That's pretty easy to remember. DJLittleRock.com. You know, since I'm here in Arkansas, Central Arkansas, where Little Rock, Arkansas is, makes it a little easier to remember. I do have KeysDAN.com as well. But when I say KeysDAN.com, some people go, Keys? How do you, with a Keez? No, K, what's K's? Keys? No. So DJLittleRock.com made it a whole lot easier for me to give out that website, let the people know a little bit more about me. But you know, this particular podcast that I do, What Makes You Smarter, is not about me. It's about me. Well, okay, it is about me a little bit, about me learning stuff about the world and what's going on, keeping up with current events. I also have my other podcast, and I invite you to be on that. Yes, you. It's called What Makes You Famous. Find it everywhere using the hashtag What Makes You Famous. Yeah, let's have a little chit chat. All right, but for today, it's What Makes You Smarter. Now, on with the show. Today on the program, 10 things you need to know today for Thursday, July 30th, 2020. 10 things you need to know today. Well, first of all, it's my sister, Heather Lee Houston's birthday. So happy birthday, Heather Lee. Hope you're having the best birthday ever. All right. She's a beautician in the Miami area. Yeah. Rock star, really. So, yeah, Heather Lee, have a great birthday. That's not one of the 10 things you need to know today. That was just anecdotal, personal for me. 10 things you need to know today. Number 1, U.S. coronavirus death toll surpasses 150,000. The United States coronavirus death toll surpassed 150,000 on Wednesday, according to data collected by Johns Hopkins University, Florida. On Wednesday, reported 260 new coronavirus deaths in the last 24 hours, setting a state single-day record for new infections for the second consecutive day. The previous state record, 186 deaths. Florida health authorities confirmed 9,446 new COVID-19 cases, bringing the state's total to more than 450,000. 3 Florida universities, the University of Central Florida, the University of Florida, and the University of South Florida, are among the 7 U.S. universities with the most coronavirus cases this year. Florida, California, Texas, all have set 7-day records for virus deaths this week. This is according to the Miami Herald and the Tampa Bay Times. Number 2, federal agents to withdraw from Portland. Governor says the Trump administration on Thursday will start a, quote, phased withdrawal, end quote, of federal agents who have clashed with anti-racism protesters in Portland, Oregon. Governor Kate Brown, Democrat, announced Wednesday. Brown tweeted that the agreement came after she spoke about the matter with Vice President Mike Pence. Quote, they have acted as an occupying force and brought violence, end quote, Brown said in a Twitter post. Quote, starting tomorrow, all Customs and Border Protection and ICE officers will leave downtown Portland, end quote. Acting Department of Homeland Security Chief Chad Wolf said the agents would leave if there is a significant easing of the, quote, violent activity, end quote, that had been directed at officers protecting the federal courthouse. He said the deal calls for, quote, a robust presence of Oregon State Police in downtown Portland, end quote. This is according to CNBC and the Washington Post. Number 3, Fed vows to keep interest rates near zero to aid recovery. Federal Reserve policymakers said Wednesday that they had agreed to keep their benchmark interest rate near zero to boost the economy as renewed rise in coronavirus cases threaten the recovery. Quote, the increase in virus cases and the renewed measures to control it are starting to weigh on economic activity, end quote, Fed Chair Jerome Powell said. The U.S. Central Bank's policy statement directly linked the prospects for an economic recovery to the resolving of the coronavirus crisis, as the expiration of extra unemployment benefits and other relief programs looms, with lawmakers still debating whether to end, extend, or replace them. Fed leaders renewed their promise to use their, quote, full range of tools, end quote, including keeping interest rates near zero to keep the economy afloat. This is according to Reuters. Number 4, Gomert tests positive for coronavirus, blames mask. Texas Republican Governor Louis Gohmert tested positive for COVID-19 early Wednesday. Gohmert's infection was detected when he was tested at the White House before he was to travel to Texas with President Trump. Attorney General William Barr came into contact with Gohmert during a Tuesday hearing on Capitol Hill. Gohmert wore a mask during much of the hearing, but was later seen without one near Barr, who will undergo testing. Gohmert has frequently refused to wear a face covering on Capitol Hill. He said he had worn one frequently in recent weeks and speculated that he might have put, quote, some of the virus on the mask and breathed it in, end quote, which is not how doctors say COVID-19 is transmitted. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Democrat California, said she was, quote, sorry, end quote, for Gohmert, quote, but I am also sorry for, let's start again, quote, but I'm also sorry my members are concerned because he has been showing up at meetings without a mask and making a thing of it, end quote. This is according to CNBC and The Hill. Number 5, tech leaders grilled in House antitrust hearing. Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos, Apple CEO Tim Cook, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg, and Google CEO Sundar Pichai testified via video conference before Congress on Wednesday, facing questions from members of a House subcommittee investigating their business practices as part of a 13-month antitrust probe. Committee Chair David Cicilline, Democrat, Rhode Island, said the investigation had convinced him that the tech giants have abused their power to, quote, shake down small businesses and enrich themselves while choking off competitors, end quote, and putting democracy at risk. Quote, our founders would not bow before a king, nor should we bow before the emperors of the online economy, end quote, Cicilline said. The CEOs argued they face plenty of competition and defended their roles in modern society. This is according to the New York Times and the Washington Post. Number 6, Pelosi makes masks mandatory on the House floor. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Democrat California, announced Wednesday that all lawmakers and their staffers are now required to wear masks while in the House chamber. Members of Congress won't be allowed to enter without a face covering, although they will be able to remove them briefly while speaking or drinking. Pelosi said she wants to see everyone, quote, adhere to this requirement as a sign of respect for the health, safety, and well-being of others present in the chamber and surrounding areas, end quote. Failure to comply will be a, quote, serious breach of decorum, end quote, that could result in removal from the floor, according to a memo announcing the policy. The mandate came after Representative Louis Gohmert, Republican Texas, who often declined to wear a mask, announced he tested positive for the coronavirus. This is according to CNN and the Washington Post. Number 7, U.S. to move 12,000 troops out of Germany. The United States is cutting its troops in Germany from 36,000 to 24,000, Defense Secretary Mark Esper announced Wednesday. Some of the military service members will be moved to Belgium and Italy. About 6,400 will be sent back to the U.S. President Trump said Germany is, quote, delinquent, end quote, on fulfilling its commitment to spend 2% of its gross domestic product on defense. The move was expected to anger members of both parties, European leaders, and others who believe the move will undermine a key alliance. Quote, this is so clearly a punitive move against Germany that it is hard to see any benefit from this, end quote, said Rachel Rizzo, the director of programs at the Truman Center for National Policy. This is according to the New York Times. Number 8, temperature reaches record 125 degrees in Baghdad. Baghdad, Iraq endured its two hottest days on record, Tuesday and Wednesday, 125 and 124 degrees Fahrenheit, respectively. The previous record of 123.8 degrees was set on July 30th, 2015. The heat forced many residents indoors, and failing power grids left many residents depending on generators to power their refrigerators, fans, and air conditioners. When the temperature hit 123 degrees on Monday, 2 people protesting shortages of power and basic services were fatally shot by security forces. Several other cities in the Middle East also have experienced extreme heat. The temperature in Beirut, Lebanon, hit a record 113.7 degrees, and Damascus, Syria, tied its high of 114.8 degrees. Baghdad is expected to get another day of high heat on Thursday before temperature drops slightly over the weekend. This is according to the Washington Post. Number 9, Ruth Bader Ginsburg back in hospital for non-surgical procedure. Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg returned to a New York hospital on Wednesday for a minimally invasive non-surgical procedure to, quote, revise a bile duct stent, end quote. A Supreme Court spokeswoman said, quote, the justice is resting comfortably and expects to be released from the hospital by the end of next week, end quote. The spokeswoman, Kathleen Arberg, said in a statement. Ginsburg, the 87-year-old senior member of the court's liberal minority, has been hospitalized several times in recent months and recently announced she was receiving chemotherapy to treat a recurrence of cancer. In July, she was treated for a possible infection, and in May, she participated in oral arguments from a hospital room at Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore while under treatment for a gallbladder condition. This is according to the New York Times. Number 10, court rules Ashley Judd can pursue Harvey Weinstein's sexual harassment suit. A federal appeals court panel on Wednesday said actress Ashley Judd, who has accused Harvey Weinstein of sexually harassing her in his hotel room in the 1990s, can go forward with a sexual harassment claim against him that had been thrown out. A lower court previously decided Judd couldn't pursue her sexual harassment claim against the disgraced producer because she was not an employee of his at the time. But the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals reversed that decision, saying the district court, quote, erred, end quote. Judd came forward with her claims against Weinstein in 2017 and sued him in 2018, alleging he damaged her career after she denied his advances. Weinstein has since been convicted of rape and sentenced to more than 2 decades in prison in a separate case. This is according to Bloomberg and Variety. That's 10 things you need to know today for Thursday, July 30th, 2020. Thank you so much for listening. I know I stumbled through a lot of that stuff. I need some more good news. I hope you're doing reasonably well. Drop me some comments. Let me know what you're up to. I really want to know. I need some good news around here. It's looking pretty grim out there, but I hope everything gets better. You know, I'm a hopeful person. I'm a smiley person. I always think that things are going to get better. Eventually, time heals all wounds, right? And if you'd like to tell your story or hear the stories of others, I encourage you to check out my other podcast, What Makes You Famous. Use the hashtag What Makes You Famous to find it everywhere. This has been What Makes You Smarter, 10 Things You Need to Know Today. This is KeysDAN, RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com. Peace. I'm out of here.